Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Esports News, Rotation out of the flipping domain, these interwebs, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick preview of what to expect going into week 1 of stage 2 of the CDL qualifiers. Now, this one is going to be a little bit different from our past qualifier, which was the Major 1 qualifier, because in stage 2, all of the teams play each other in a round-robin set. So this stage will be a lot longer of an online qualifier, as all of the teams have to play each other at least once before we get to Major 2. And I believe only 10 teams will go to Major 2, so 2 teams will be relegated. Therefore, Major 2 is a 10-team event, invitational obviously, more so than Major 1. So, just wanted to set the stage there before we get into all of our G-stake wagering. And, well, we'll do predictions. We're not going to do G-stake wagering because that goes a little bit better on stream. It takes a little bit longer to do the G-stake wagers, so don't really like to do those on here in the videos as much because I just found that they take up a little bit too much time. I'm sorry, the predictions. G-stake is really quick. So, we'll start with the G-stake wagering, and then we will go to traditional predictions afterward. So, what's this one? Who's team 2? That's 21 hours from now, so that's not CDL. I don't know what this is, but I'm guessing this is an online league. Let's just go with team 2. Whoever this is, YOLO, right? Let's rock with team 2. I like the number 2. So, speaking of the number 2, we have Boston Breaches, team 2, OpTic Texas, team 1. Obviously, we are going to go with the green wall. Boston, it's said, must be fighting from their back foot, obviously, in this series, but I think it'll be a 3-0 for OpTic Texas. Speaking of matchups where I'm expecting teams to have a dominant win, I'm going to go with the Toronto Koi here, even though the bookmaker odds definitely do not favor them. I feel like with their new role change, if you guys missed my video going over how Toronto could improve their team, I'm going to wager 150 G stakes on this being a Toronto Koi dub. So we're going to wager 250 G stakes on Friday. If this hits, win 5 G stake wagers in a row. Ooh, we're on a heater. Let's check this out, ladies and gents. My history. So I won 5 at the major. So I won Ravens versus OpTic, Mates versus Thieves, OpTic versus G2, FaZe versus Falcons, and FaZe versus Thieves. Okay, so that's 5 in a row. Nice. Your boy's on a heater. Alright, so let's fill that in on the Pick'ems leaderboard real quick, right? So we said what? We said 3-0 for OpTic Texas. I'm going to say 3-2 for Koi Head Turner series, right? And then last match of the day is FaZe Vegas taking on Dempsey's Miami Heretics. I'm going to invest heavily in FaZe after such an embarrassing finish to their Major 1 campaign. I think that they will absolutely right. Oh, I'm sorry. 3-1. I think they'll right the ship here at 3-1 over the Miami Heretics. Honestly, I do like the flow of this a lot better. Having this different site to kind of give my predictions so you guys can tell me if you like doing that is way more streamlined, and I feel like my focus is a little bit, better here, right? Like, I feel like sometimes I'm all over the place with pick'ems because I'm trying to make it interesting, and with this, the visuals are way cleaner, and it definitely, with the variation in movement and things, it definitely, I feel like, is a little bit more interesting. So let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. As usual, I never ask for people to do that, but you guys show love when I ask for it, so let's show some love to this video. So speaking of showing love, I think that the Paris Gentlemates and Sib will be looking to show the Riyadh Falcons that there is no love lost between these two, especially after that heinous park the bus cheese that the Riyadh Falcons let loose in this league that ended up, ironically, consequentially, being the reason why they were eliminated from Major 1. FaZe took the overload. They parked the bus in that overload, and that is how the Riyadh Falcons were sent home, consequently. So, I think our defending Major 1 champs, I think they start off their Major 2 campaign with a dub. Usually, my most confident guesses are thrown to the wind, and the Call of Duty gods just say, "Pah!" like that 50 Cent gif at the light. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if they steal off on me or if they let me have my day. So speaking of people who I think will have their day, I think OpTic Texas will have a pretty good day against this G2 Minnesota side. How many G stakes do we have left? We have 1,400 left. So we'll put 497 on this one. We'll go big. Go big or go home, right, guys? All right, so we have 6 matches left. I have to be pretty sparing with the way I spend my G-Stake creds. I got 1,000 left for 6 matches, so yeah, you guys can do the averages. That's about less than 200 per. So, rubber match, FaZe Vegas versus Toronto Koi. I think that FaZe Vegas got this. I'll be honest with you. I think that even with the Real change, I think FaZe Vegas is just going to be the better team. So let's fill in these specifics in the pick'ems, right? Well, let's get through all the match predictions here first. And then obviously I think Nium and the LA Thieves, I think they get a pretty easy dub over the Vancouver Surge. So let's fill these all in. We'll say Game 5 Gentlemates just because you got to give Paris their respect. And you also have to give Riyadh their respect consequentially as well. They're a good team, and you got to give them their due. G2 Minnesota versus OpTic Texas. Even though G2 have looked phenomenal coming out of the Major, I think we saw the difference between these two teams at Major 1 is quite significant, right? I feel like OpTic is just the bully here, and G2, they're the nerds at the lunch money. They're getting shaken out the shoes. You know, it is what it is. A swirly, a noogie, whatever you want to say. The bullies are doing it all, and they're embarrassing the absolute crap out of these boys, sending them back home to their mamas in shambles. So, speaking of people who send those boys back home to their mamas in shambles, I think that the FaZe Vegas side, I think that, you know, no matter what kind of role change they make, I feel like FaZe is a top 3 team. I feel like Koi still has some ironing out to do. I feel like the series will be close. All things aside, I feel like it will be close, but I feel like Koi, I don't know. I feel like Insight and Real, I'm just not sure if those two are the two to get it done. You might need to get rid of Insight. It might be time for him to seek greener pastures, if you will. So that's my thoughts on that one. And then in terms of the LA Thieves versus Vancouver Surge series, I feel like it'll be a pretty dominant dub for the LA Thieves. The only misstep I could see coming through is in the S&D, where the Vancouver Surge have decidedly looked pretty decent all year long, regardless of who's on the roster. You know, with Legend, with TJ, they've looked pretty good in S&D consistently. So if they're going to win a map, I see that being the one that they win. So that means we move on to Sunday. Let's see how many G-Stake creds we have left. 600 for 4 matches. Not too shabby. 150 average per. So we'll say the Paris Gentlemates, of course, topple the Miami Heretics again. I don't think it'll necessarily be a 3-1. I think Miami will make it a little bit more respectable, especially after having a little bit of egg on their face in their last meeting. I feel like Miami will probably play up and get to a Game 5. Now, the Riyadh Falcons, I feel like they probably stomp Nasty in the Boston Breach. Just kind of a gut feeling there. G2 Minnesota, let's say that they farm the new AM Stallions experiment team, whatever you want to call this Cloud9 New York roster. I mean, they just picked up a bunch of guys and said, do what you can. So, I mean, we'll give the 100 points to Rocker. I think that's a pretty easy 3-0. And then second to last match of the week, I'm going to invest heavily in the LA Thieves. I think Carolina Royal Ravens have a pretty tough week ahead of them. Obviously, they're going up against Koi and then LA Thieves. So I feel like this is probably an 0-2 week, but maybe they get back to that online form. I just don't feel like this is the same team that they 3-2'd a few weeks ago. Abizi was not looking the way that he looked at Major 1. Neither was Hydra. Neither was Scrap. So I feel like this is a different LA Thieves team, and consequently, I feel like it will be a different team in this matchup, which is why I have them taking it. So let's fill in the specifics over here. Like I said, I think it'll be a Game 5 Gentlemates dub. I feel like no matter what, Miami will be looking to definitely get some get back after that. Not really embarrassing loss, but definitely embarrassing for their standards as they try to move into that upper echelon, I think they'll definitely want to show everybody, hey, we're a lot better than you guys saw in that last matchup. Especially Trakes and Metals, they had a really rough, uncharacteristic showing for their liking. And, that was really important in terms of them not making the winner's bracket side of things. So I think they'll definitely come into this one with it circled. All things considered, they match up against Gentleman's pretty well. They have a pretty solid chance to take it. Heretics is a very good team. They slay very well. Just, ironing up some objective efficiency things, getting a little bit more time, and just translating that slaying to something meaningful is really what they need to do to win this matchup, but I digress. So, in the Boston Breach versus Real Falcons series, I think it'll kind of be one of those series where Boston, if they haven't really thought about blowing it up at this point, I think this series will kind of be the straw that breaks the camel's back, where this team is just kind of in a weird place, where they're just kind of like, man, we really should have made some moves. So I think it'll be a 3-1 for the Real Falcons. It's Call of Duty, anything can happen, but just not that high on the Boston Breach at the moment. I feel like they definitely need a team change, and I especially think that after losing to both of our green teams in the CDL, that they will definitely be thinking about why they did not make one. So, speaking of teams that made a roster change, I think the LA Thieves, I think they have a pretty dominant showing against the Carolina Royal Ravens, showing that they are a top-tier team here, really separating themselves from an emerging contender like the Ravens, who are probably in that 5th to 6th rung of the ladder, right? But the LA Thieves are trying to cement themselves as a top 2 to 3 team, and I think that this series will definitely help them to stamp that claim. So, speaking of people that will be stamping a claim, I think that G2 will be stamping Cloud9's claim as the worst team in the league, the absolute burgers, I don't even know what to call them. They just picked up 4 guys and said, ball out, I guess. So, I mean, with these 4 playing for a contract, I think that's a pretty easy 3-0 to forecast, right? These guys have no practice. The team is just being finalized at time of recording on Tuesday, so it's cooked. It's cooked. I mean, these guys never play with each other. No team chem. You're going up against a team like G2 Minnesota that just got 4th at the last event, and this is your first pro match, all 4 of you, so yeah, I mean, God bless. But, yeah, that'll just about wrap it up for me, guys. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, like I always say. And once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News, expectation, however the flip you know me, these interwebs, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't, and share it with someone who you think might enjoy this if, they like COD or they miss out on highlights during the week. So, catch you guys on the next one. Peace.